Welcome to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. Join us on this journey into the unknown, down a dark path overgrown. Find spells and rituals, folklore and legends. Come, set your candles alight to clear your mind and unwind. Delve into the shadows to uncover a dark path.
Welcome back to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. I am Kristen Jackson, and I have probably been shielding way before I even knew what it was a thing, and continue to shield to this day.
I'm Allyson Hemma-Romane, owner of Jupiter's Omens, and I was definitely grounding before I knew what grounding was. And then as for protection magic, I don't know if I was doing that. Jury's out. We're joined today by the lovely Heidi Stock.
Why, hello there. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure.
For me as well. So I, conversely, was not consciously grounding or shielding at all ever. So that was rough. The only thing I was really doing was disassociating. Now, harnessing grounding and shielding as a grown person.
All right, I have questions, but we'll get into them when the episode continues. Today's episode, by the way, just in time for the holiday season and family gatherings, is all about grounding, shielding, and protection magic. That's my transition music, Kristen.
So protection magic comes from the Greek word to ward off. It is, let's see if I can say this, atropasic? You're being recorded,
No, I
boo.
know. Oh, yeah, that's weird. Atropaic sounds great.
Apotrepo. Yeah, shit.
Apotropaic?
Shit. It's a protective magic that is a type of magic intended to turn away harm or evil influences. Most often, I think people think of the evil eye and how it will protect. And this can come in forms of good luck charms, amulets, gestures like cross your fingers crossed, good luck, and rituals. Part of protection magic is shielding. Shielding is the belief that one has power over their environment by creating protective energy around them. So this could be through belief in a god or an energy form, something that is outside of ourselves that is allowing us to harness those energies to protect and shield.
In science, grounding is an earthing system or grounding system that connects specific parts of an electric power system with the ground, typically the equipment's conductive surface for safety and functional purposes. According to Healthline, grounding or earthing is a therapeutic technique that focuses on realigning your electrical energy by reconnecting to the earth. Grounding is a technique that stabilizes your energy, brings you to a positive state, releases excess energy from your body, allows you to draw energy from the earth, reduces inflammation and cortisol levels. It can increase energy and healing speed. It can also decrease pain and restore balance to the body. Things that are popular grounding exercises or widely used today would be, for example, breathing exercises like box breathing, deep inhalations, oh, you're upset, go take a breather, right? Things like that. Earthing, which is walking barefoot outside, and naps.
How do we apply these ideas to our day-to-day life? How do you get grounded on a daily basis? Let's start there. How do you start with grounding? And also just for each other, is shielding part of your grounding routine or is it part of your protection routine? Allyson, do you want to start?
Shielding is part of my protection routine. And I feel like I only use it when I'm leaving the house. So like if I'm having people come to my house, I don't worry about it so much. I kind of let my space do the work for me. Whereas I'll kind of imagine a facade when I'm dealing with people in public. I sound like such a cranky, crotchety hermit. Anyways, my regular grounding techniques are I start my day sitting on my deck. Sometimes I have my phone and I'll go through and I'll do like what I'm grateful for and I post it on my Instagram, my business Instagram, you know. Sometimes I take a bath. I regularly bathe, but sometimes it's a bath specifically. And when it's not a bath specifically, it's a shower. And I try to imagine grounding with the water in those places. I'm a water moon and a water rising. Water cleansing, water grounding hits real hard in my soul. How about you, Heidi?
Oh, me. I do a bunch of different things, and mine are largely based on how much time I have. I feel like at this point, you guys might have a glimpse of it, even just from the show, but I run pretty hot. So I spend a lot of time grounding, right? I spend a lot of time sending off excess energy. And outside of just running hot personally, I'm also empathic. So I take on a lot of other people's hotness. I take on a lot. And so I'm working on grounding all the time. And for me, it's a big energy channeling situation, right? I guess I always take on everyone's hotness and amplify their hotness. It's just a
In
sexy
case
place
I
to be.
wasn't hot enough.
It's like, we're all on fire. Depending on how much time I have will depend on how much I do, right? So if I have very little time, if I'm actively in a situation where I need to get grounded immediately, quickly, right then, I tend to rely on breath work. Breath work is my most powerful tool for that sort of thing. It's a combination of things. I'm doing breath work, Reiki, and visualization sort of in tandem, right? When I need to calm down immediately. I also have mantras to go with that, but it's like and pressure points that I'm pushing, right? Because it's like I need to be calm right now. That's usually when I'm I don't know, say I feel like I'm gonna lose my temper with someone who doesn't deserve to have my temper lost with them. Right? Like
Hmm.
my kids. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for me to be having my temper lost with my children. So those are the kind of techniques I use for quick action. I think if I have, say, 5 minutes, I would sit down and meditate. I might drink a glass of water with intention. I might even have something small to eat with the same mentality, take a moment outside, like you were saying, Allison. And I think one of the biggest things for grounding is having a routine of some kind at all, something that you're doing every day. Having a reoccurring practice is hugely grounding. Sometimes you can ground yourself in things also. So, like, you can ground yourself in abundance. You can ground yourself in gratitude. So that's something you were talking about also, Allison, with the Gashao, right? You ground yourself by being very aware of the things you're grateful for. It's a similar mentality with abundance, right? You're very aware of the things that make you abundant, and that helps you stay grounded, helps you stay focused and present, and keep things in perspective, which is a big part of being grounded. There are some longer exercises too, if you are very ungrounded and have quite a bit of time to respond, you can do a lot of things. And I would also encourage you to do divination and ask questions surrounding the nature of why you're struggling in that moment. It could help you have some insight as to how you could ground yourself more thoroughly too, right? If you decide that the reason you're so ungrounded has to do with your emotional house, then start working with your water elements. Maybe that's when you do the bath. Maybe that's when you go to the ocean. If the reason you're so ungrounded isn't from that, if it's from, like, say, your earth house, your pentacles, it's something let's say it's the house is messy. You're not grounded because every time you walk around, you're stressed out because of your physical environment. But anyways, knowing what the stressor is, knowing what's preventing the grounding can be really helpful. So if you're feeling like I'm going through the exercises, but they're not helping, or if you have a lot of time and you just want to know what the hell's going on, add divination to your grounding sessions.
Heidi, that was a really good segue talking about like the mess of your emotional state. I want to touch on grounding and mental health. Medication as a grounding tool because so many of us do need the assistance of medication in order to chill. And that's just the way that it is. Everybody's different. Do what you got to do to take care of yourself and stay safe. If you're having trouble gaining awareness on what is blocking you from grounding, seek a therapist, seek a medical professional, do what you got to do to get that help. And eventually you will be able to do those things on your own. It takes a lot of diligence, but you'll get there.
Say you're somebody who knows you should take medication, but you struggle with that. Okay. Add it to your witchy routine. Keep your medicine on your altar. Keep it blessed, keep it charged, put it in the windowsill so it gets the moonlight, right? Have it when you drink your glass of water to ground yourself. Take your medication. This can be part of your metaphysical routine as well. So I would say not only like there's no shame, but embrace it. It's part of what you're doing. So make it part of what you're doing.
It's a tool that helps you ground and reconnect in a way that you currently are unable to do on your own. And the whole point of drug therapy is to aid you through other therapies in which you can learn how to be self-sufficient or more self-reliant in that matter. That's the whole point.
100%. Kristen, what do you do for grounding on your daily basis? What's your routine? What's your go-to?
So I always struggled with grounding. I didn't entirely understand it at first. To give like some context, I am allergic to pretty much everything that grows outside. And if it doesn't affect my breathing, then it gives me like a rash or things like that. So like being out in nature was always like scary in a sense. So for me, that wasn't a way to ground. And that's a way that a lot of people, they're like, go out in the grass, put your feet in the grass. And I'm like, and get a rash and not be able to wear shoes. And that sucks. Like, so I had to kind of figure out different ways to go about it. I commonly do grounding with roots. So imagining roots coming out of my body. Oftentimes I'm inside. So I imagine it breaking through the floor, going through the foundation and into the earth, and then like kind of like a tap root. And then from there, it'll kind of come out. Like that's the roots. They're growing. I put a bunch of allergy medicine in myself, spray my nose, get myself all ready, and I go out and I garden. And that, even though I can't always physically touch things, I imagine a lot. I imagine that I'm touching them. I'm imagining that, like, even though I can't actually physically do the thing without having allergic issues, then I will use my imagination to kind of bridge that gap. I have a question though. Like you guys talk about grounding with water, like baths or drinking, using that as a grounding method. For
Drink.
me, I don't entirely feel grounded. Water to me is conductive. It moves energy, and to me it's like that's going to help me kind of it feels more uplifting.
I think it's helpful to share that on the podcast because there are probably a lot of other people who view water as the same way. My personal feeling is that water functions the same as grounding with the earth.
May I chime in?
Yeah.
So, because I am somebody who also grounds in water, and I have a similar reason it works for me. The earth itself is like 80% water, right? Like hugely water-based structure. So in my head, I always felt like it's just one and the same of our earth, our planet, right? However, two people who jump to mind right away who aren't going to dive into that. People who have hydrophobia, right? People who are fearful of water are not going to get grounded in water. That's not going to happen. I mean, like that's like an endurance trial. Secondly, I happen to know, and I'm like, I'm not going to drop any names because she may be a guest on this show later in the series, but it won't matter. But anyway, she is a fire girl, just fire from head to toe, does not ground in water. That is not something that she feels grounded in. Now, she doesn't feel like she can't work with it necessarily, just not to get grounded. I think it's very, very much in part of how we talk about in like all the episodes. It's different for every person, and it's all about knowledge of self. I could tell you what works for me, and that's why we like to list so many different things so that you can throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks because we're all different. And it's not gonna be the same. We're like, Kristen, go get in the bath and get grounded. And you're like, how? What the fuck are you talking about? That's I mean, right? Like, or Kristen,
Yeah,
go sit in the grass and you're get grounded. And you're like, or go itch myself till I bleed. Cool, fun. That sounds
right?
very grounding, spiritual
So
shit.
grounding. I'm
I,
really connecting with my body.
yeah, I'm connecting so much I'm bleeding. My fingernails are in my body.
I like that. Thank you.
So, and another group, like just another group in general of people who may struggle to feel grounded in water is people who have a lot of damage in their emotional house, right? Because water is your emotional house. So when you enter water, you're entering the most uncomfortable place that you live. Now, some people love that. Some people do shadow work on their birthday.
Oh my God, way to call me out.
But no, seriously though. So like it's not, some people live in discomfort and that's where they thrive. But some people don't. Some people will get into that situation and say, no, thank you. This is not grounding to me. This is work,
I
right?
started seeing water grounding as a thing when I discovered that people go into those floaty chambers. You know what I'm talking about? Where the sensory deprivation chambers and it's all black and you're floating in water. That's where I first equated it. So like when I had my major mental health crisis, I was like looking into that and started like replicating it at home. So that's where I first developed the association of grounding in water with grounding in
That
water.
is completely fucking wild to me because that is the most hellish, nightmarish landscape you just painted in my mind. In the water, in the dark is like terrifying to me. I am so afraid of the dark. Do you know? Like as a
Oh, I
grown adult,
love
I am
it.
not comfortable in the dark. And being in the water in the dark, I would scare myself so badly I would drown in the bathroom by myself.
It's like just enough water that like most of your body is floating, but like not so much that you would like fall in and drown. Like people fall asleep doing that,
It's a
Heidi.
butt ton
Not
of
this person.
salt.
I'm so buoyant too. It's like hard for my ass to sink.
I'm
And
so buoyant, it's hard for my ass to sink.
We've been traveling together down a dark path. Now it's time to take a break and listen to some of our sponsors. This episode of A Dark Path is sponsored by
Light the way on your dark path with Wise Wolf Craft's unique selection of tools for living with intention. From manifestation kits to altar items and divination tools, we have everything you need to connect with your inner wisdom. Wise Wolf Craft offers Reiki and other energy healing sessions, divination readings, and a variety of classes on topics like intuitive tarot and personalized spell work. Unleash the power within. Visit Wise Wolf Craft today online at wisewolfcraft.com and on Facebook and Instagram as @WiseWolfCraft. Wise Wolfcraft, tools for living with intention. Needing guidance on your dark path? Explore the mysterious world of Jupiter's Omens, offering handmade rituals, spells, and tools to focus your intention during spell work, vintage altar tools and decor, and intuitive tarot sessions utilizing claircognizance. Visit Jupiter's Omens, where the mystical and macabre meet, at jupitersomens.square.site. That's jupitersomens.square.site.
I have a question for Heidi. Are you doing protection braids as we speak?
You know, you've been doing them all
oh yeah, I know. I
episode.
just grounding, hair brushing. That's another grounding thing. No, so it's interesting to get us back on topic here. When I leave the house, the same types of clothing I wear to feel grounded are also my protection items. So like blacks, right? I wear a lot of black for protection and grounding. I wear certain coats, which is odd, but for protection and grounding. I say it's odd only because you might not think of that, but I think a lot of people have a comfort jacket already, right? Like you have like something you put on when you want it, like it's just sure win. I have certain things I'll do to my hair, like we are just talking about with braiding and that sort of thing, like fingernail polish. I like writing runes on things. And this is for if I'm leaving the house. I think what Allison said earlier was really on point about letting your space do the work for you. I'm all about delegating energetic work. Like I have plenty to do, so if my space wants to help, absolutely. Um, Selenite on the door frames, right? Or the windows, portals, anything like that. You can even use runes to block portals and your mirrors and things if you're worried about losing energy that way. You can introduce elements like feng shui, which can help you stay grounded just by having the energy in your home flow more naturally. If you're not wildly allergic, bring plants indoor, right? Have a little bit of outdoors, indoors, help you stay grounded. I like protection jars. I put those by my house, by my doors. I cook with a lot of projection stuff. I tend to ingest a lot of projection stuff. I don't know. How do you guys feel? What are your protection? I feel like I'm all about grounding, less about protection. I do protection, but not as much.
I love a good protection jar. Love a good protection salt bowl. Love a good protection bath. African black soap, which is made with charcoal, right? Which is absorbing, but then it's also color magic. Black's my favorite color. So there's that. I wear a lot of black, dark colored crystals, and found stones. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a crystal that correlates with a protective energy. It's based off of whether I feel it. I have a piece of like burnt driftwood that is like all like charcoalized. I don't know what the scientific word for that is, but it's like charred. That's what it is. Charcoalized. Oh my God.
I was just
I
gonna say,
have
I think charcoalized is correct.
I believe
charred
it's
piece of
called giant.
charred driftwood on my altar, which I also use as like an homage to protection.
I always was kind of aware of the fact that it's putting on a shield of armor. So you're protecting yourself from whether it's the elements or attack, whatever it is, you can't get past that metal armor. Black is a great color, but if you find something that helps you, it's better. And I always ended up doing dark midnight blue. And it was kind of like a big velvet cloak. So I would put the cloak on, I would tie up the string around my neck, and then I would put the hood over so that it was over my face. So my entire body, head to foot, is completely covered with this cloak. And every time I had this on, things that I did not want to penetrate the cloak would not penetrate the cloak. And I still use that till today. Like when we moved into our new house, I like imagined like a same, velvety fabric across the entire lot. I refresh it once or twice a year. Like it's not that much. But then I also do things like protection sigils underneath my front doormat. Back in like several episodes, but definitely the crystal episode, um, I was constantly wearing hematite and I didn't know that that's what it was. It was just inherited. And I always felt better and I always felt a little protected now knowing what it is, like, how hematite affects the body and different things like that. I'm like, oh, well, duh, that makes sense. So there's a lot of things that I was doing even before I knew that that's what I was doing. As you guys have said, I've got selenite and black tourmaline above entrances and exits, things like that. So once I walk into my home, it's done. I can take off that cloak and I can just be. One thing that I don't know a technical real term for it, so you guys might know. When I was seeing shadow figures or ghosties, things like that, I would push them out of the room. So like it's like taking all of the energy up inside of you and then just like releasing it like a big giant like glowy orb and pushing it out of the room. And then once the door was always shut because I freak out if the door's not shut at night. But push it through the door and then it was a black smoky frame, almost like it was fire, but it was just black smoke that kept them out of the door or window or wherever I pushed them. It's something that would help me feel safe when things that were kind of kooky happened. I don't know if you guys have you
Definitely
heard of
sounds like shielding.
So I think back to it, mine is really similar to Kristen's, and I only do it for customer service because that's the only frame of reference that I had for it. But my mom used to work for Eastern Airlines. And when I would get frustrated in customer service, she would like tell me this anecdote about how before they went out to deal with the flights for the day at the desk, or she also worked like throwing luggage and parking the planes and stuff, they would have to put on their customer service faces, right? So, and they would literally go like this, like they would literally put their hand over their face and like put on a smile and go out and deal with people. And so that's kind of like the shielding ritual that I have used. And it's super similar to Kristen's, but like less poetic. Kristen's is way more romanticized. I love it.
I had a very similar experience. I worked
Yeah.
at a place that when you walked through the doors from the back of the house to the front of the house, it said, remember it's a show, keep your happy face on or something like that.
I just like to remove your face and put on a different face.
Right? Because you're not allowed to exist, right? In customer service.
Ah, no, just what a
So,
terrifying concept. Also, I'm gonna throw out there,
well,
none of us talked about this. You can petition protection.
Oh, I kind of did that. I work with a
Did
guardian deity,
Oh,
but
you did.
like,
I'm sorry, you did. You did.
but
But it doesn't have to be
yeah.
someone you're already working with also. Like you can ask somebody, you can be like,
Lord, give me strength.
Athena, hear me.
True. But how many like different religious and cultures use icons or, even talking about like in the gender conditioning episode, we talked about Lilith and how people would put like the angels, like sigils or like necklaces, things on their children to protect them so that Lilith wouldn't snatch them.
Imbibing things with
So,
protection. Give a
yeah,
necklace you like to wear a lot, imbibe it with protecting energy. Then it's your protection necklace.
I mean,
Choose.
enchanting?
Yeah, exactly. Do it on a
tomato, tomato.
advantageous day of the week. If it's protection, perhaps do it on a Mars. Maybe do it on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Thursday would be Jupiter, but that's abundance, right? That's kind of same wheelhouse.
I mean,
Just have
I
a
would urge you to do it on Thursday and Jupiter's Day,
You
personally.
would. You would. That's exactly what you would do. Why don't you just check the moon schedule to see if you can hang out with us?
Hopefully, this episode was helpful for those who are beginning to do grounding exercises, those who are struggling to do grounding exercises. There are tons of spells out there, tons of books, like especially beginner books. If you're at all curious, what does Heidi usually say? Take a stroll down to your local library. This is a topic that we are very passionate about, and it's one of the easiest ways for you to help yourself. It's a tool that you can have at your disposal that's free. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We would love to help you.
Does Keith have any wrap-up comments?
Kristen wants to know if you have any wrap-up comments, babe.
Stay grounded.
Please check out Heidi on her socials at Wise Wolfcraft, and you can check us out at A Dark Path Podcast. Heidi, thank you so much for your knowledge and inspiration.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be around such wonderfully witchy women.
Oh, witchy woman.
All about a good alliteration, almost as good as a pun.
About
So what's the episode about next week? Does anybody know?
Yes, we know what the next episode is, Heidi.
Join us next time for our episode on Yule. And we are always looking to connect. If you have topics you'd like us to discuss, questions, you want to get to know us, please email us at adarkpathpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that is adarkpathpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much, everybody.
It is now that our time together must come to an end. Thank you for joining us on this journey, a dark path come to a bend. Find us here bi-monthly on your favorite place to stream, and follow us on social media for news in between. A dark path is there, winding and waiting ever. May you craft peace, knowledge, and alignment, so shall it be, or something better.